Hey guys, Chad here from Take It or Leave It, here with an early movie review for you for the film The Monkey. Here's the synopsis. When twin brothers Bill and Hal find their father's old monkey toy in the attic, a series of gruesome deaths start. The siblings decide to throw the toy away and move on with their lives, growing apart over the years. Alright, with that down, let's get into the pros and the cons, starting with the pros. Well, the first main pro is actually quite simple. This film is fun as shit. Seriously, I had an absolute blast with this film. I was laughing throughout the entire film with the rest of the audience, and that's something I'll just tell you right now. If you're short on time, at least take this away from the video. If you're interested in seeing this movie, absolutely see it on opening weekend in theaters with a packed audience. But going back to my main pro, this is a fun movie, but why? What makes it so fun, Chad? And honestly, it really boils down to one thing: Osgood Perkins. He's the writer and director of this film, and if you see The Monkey, I won't have to tell you, you'll know already that this guy made Longlegs. Except if Longlegs is like 70% edgy, dark, scary, twisted, and 30% bonkers, weird, and funny, then The Monkey is like the flip of that. And honestly, Osgood Perkins' grasp on his humor in this film, it came so naturally. So much so that I don't really know where his home is. Is he more of a horror director or more of a comedy director? I mean, obviously he is a bit of both, but I mean, his command over the comedy and the humor and the energy in this film, he just appears to be in full control over it. And don't be scared away by the fact that I'm talking about the comedy and stuff like that. Like, it is darkest of black comedy that I've seen in a while, and it totally fits within this horror Stephen King realm. But yeah, whether I was laughing out loud because a joke or something somebody said was so hilarious, or I was laughing out loud because I was like, oh my god, that kill was insane, holy shit. Like, either way, I was laughing throughout this entire film pretty much. But I gotta point out, that's another element that made this film so much fun, was the kills. Clearly, Oz took a page out of Final Destination and just decided to have an absolute field day with the kills. The kills are brutal, ruthless, violent, gory, and again, hilarious as a result. And without getting into spoilers, I'll just say that my favorite kill was the one that it felt like the person was gonna die like 2, 3, maybe 4 different times until they finally randomly and abruptly died, such that if you had like rewound it 30 or 45 seconds, maybe a minute before that, you'd be like, no, there's no way you could have predicted that that was how they were actually gonna die. But yeah, this is a splatter fest, and you know, for that reason, that's a big part of why I'm saying you should definitely check this out with an audience. But okay, the film is fun, it's funny, Oz Perkins is probably the biggest reason for all of that, but what else works with the film? Well, the performances are pretty damn great throughout this film. Theo James gives a great performance. Actually, he gives 2 great performances, and it was funny because I don't really know much about him as an actor, and I had just seen him, as far as I know, for the very first time playing this very kind of reserved character, and then all of a sudden, him as this second character comes in, and he is just so different that I was like, oh shit, so this guy's got range. But I also have to give credit to the actor who played the younger version of Theo James' character. He also did a great job. But not only are the performances pretty great all around, it's actually a pretty stacked cast that they have here, including some cameos from Elijah Wood, Tatiana Maslany, Osgood Perkins himself, and a couple others, but it was just fun to see these actors pop up in this film, even if it's just for a little bit. But I also gotta quickly point out that not only is the cinematography great, I mean, you know, if you saw Longlegs, you know, the cinematography is very warm, it's got that very unusual Osgood Perkins style to it, but I also have to tip my hat to the editor, because the timing in this film is what made the comedy so freaking outlandish and funny. If the timing isn't there, then I don't think the comedy lands as well. And the timing of these cuts and the impact that they make, it really goes into the hands of the editor. And lastly, for the pros, I actually gotta mention something that I think may have impacted me more than I realized, which was the narration. Because I can't stress enough how absolutely ridiculous this film gets, but it's Theo James's narration that I think keeps the film tethered to the ground, and not only in the words that he's saying, but actually his voice. His actual voice, it's pretty deep, and it reminded me of the narration from The Sandlot, if you've ever seen that film. His voice in and of itself just kind of re-centered me, despite the outrageousness and the insanity that was ensuing in the film. But that does lead me to my cons. The most notable being that the third act, for me, it just starts to come off the rails a bit. And ironically, in the third act, that is when the film catches up to the present completely, and there's very little narration going on at that point. I'll also point out that in the beginning of the third act, it starts to introduce some other minor characters that it just felt a bit out of place to me. Like, who are these people? Why are we going into so much detail about these minor characters? Some of the scenes with these minor characters, showing them in their own world, they just felt like deleted scenes to me. But where the film started to go off the rails the most for me, where I most noticed it, is when there's this abrupt flashback at the beginning of the third act. It just felt like the movie was jerking the wheel into this flashback, and I was just playing catch up the rest of the time. I was sitting there just kind of like, wait, what now? Who did what? What is whose motivation now? Holy shit, what's going on? Slow down. And it kind of felt like Oz was making things up as he went along at this point. The other con that I'll mention is that there is a cost to Oz's really quirky, weird, bonkers style and humor, and that cost is that I just did not find myself nearly as invested with these characters as I wished I was. But I will give Oz credit. I can see it in his writing, like he actually made an attempt to, create some arcs, some relationship development, character development. It is in there, but again, his style, his very out there, weird, outrageous sense of humor, I just felt like it overpowered any of that. This film definitely has elements of Longlegs, Final Destination, and then these are kind of some weird things I'll point to, but this is just what came to me when I was watching the film and afterwards. I got like elements of Wes Anderson's style, Noah Hawley's style from Legion, that X-Men show, and especially in the third act, I got hints of like Edward Scissorhand. Yeah, I know, it's weird, but this movie's weird, so there you go. But I really did enjoy the weird that Oz brought to this movie, and I think that if you go into it expecting a very well crafted, fun horror comedy, I think you'll enjoy it too. And I'm gonna give The Monkey a 7.9 out of 10. But those are just my thoughts, take it or leave it. What do you guys think? Are you excited about this film? Is what I said, does it sound like what you kind of expected from this film? Let me know down in the comment section, let's talk about it. And if you enjoyed this video but you want more information about what's on my watch list, what I'm currently watching, the kind of ratings I'm giving these films, as well as upcoming releases I'm looking forward to, don't forget to follow me on track.tv. My username is TIOLI_reviews. The link is in the description box. Go ahead and click it and start following me on Tracked, and I look forward to seeing you over there. And as usual, guys, thank you so much for stopping by my channel. I really appreciate it. Don't be afraid to hit that like and subscribe button. And until next time, I'm Chad from Take It or Leave It, and I'll check you later.
Check you later. Check you later.
Hey, man, get off my case.
Oh, man. Chicks don't want to hear that shit.